This dude Whack 100 insists on playing these internet games with me. He tagged me in some on Instagram, which is crazy. But I get what he's trying to do, and he just trying to play as if he isn't actually concerned with this whole situation that's going on. And as y'all can see, I'm speaking freely and openly about it because I'm 100% confident in my position. I'm confident in my position without question. With that being said, today I feel like is a pretty good day to react to some content. And what we gonna do is we gonna react to this FBI phone call with Whack 100 and the FBI agents. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down exactly how this specific phone call that Whack 100 released himself is informing. This is just one example of Whack being an informant. But as I told y'all, I'm extremely confident in my position. So if need be, I can give you more. If need be. But today we're going to break down this. I chose this because this is the one thing that Whack hangs his hat on. We've heard him on multiple platforms say, well, they called me and I played it for the world. I told the world what. And keep in mind that we're going to be looking at this from the aspect of how the agents who was talking to him were viewing this. And we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to really get to it. So without wasting any more time, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm so happy that you are here. You know what to do, man. Hey, look, let's get to it. Now, I started off with this document because this is the document that Whack 100 hangs his hat on as proof that he's not an informant. But y'all got to peep the mind games that he play. I'm going to break this down to y'all. And we're going to start with the fact that this shit says witness interviews and arrests. Witness interviews and arrest. One more time. Witness interviews and arrest. So this is the category for witness interviews. Witnesses. Check this out. Interviews have been conducted during the investigation that have been effective in gathering information about Henley's involvement with the homicide. They have also been effective in gathering information related to Henley's collection of extortion payments. Some of the interviews have also led to the recruitment of a few of the aforementioned confidential sources who have been used during this case. However, as described above, those confidential sources have taken this investigation as far as it can go, and short of meeting its prosecutorial goals and objectives. Additionally, in my conversations with CHS-1, CHS-2, and other law enforcement officers, I have learned that Henley associates with a tight-knit circle of people who have known each other for decades. Continuous interviews without court-authorized interception of the target location could unnecessarily alert target communicators to the interest of law enforcement in their illegal activity. The interviews would also have the effect of alerting the target communicators and others, thereby compromising the investigation and resulting in the possible destruction or concealment of documents and other evidence. Additionally, if the targeted communicators are alerted to the government's investigation, they may flee the jurisdiction in order to avoid apprehension and prosecution. For example, in late July 2022, keep in mind, this is in the witness interview section too. The FBI Houston division conducted telephone interview of Cash Jones, aka Whack 100, about his interactions with the subject of their investigation. The FBI Houston division believes C. Jones recorded that interview because the entirety of the interview was posted to YouTube the following day. Based on my training and experience and knowledge of the investigation, I believe additional interviews of associates of the targeted communicators will not stay private and alert them to LAMTFVG's investigation of the enterprise. For example, NLVPD made attempts to interview Henley, which were unsuccessful in both 2021 and 2023. Henley was also, and they got some kind of typo right here, but about NLVPD's interviews with recent interviews of Williams' family and friends. And then they say, therefore, they believe only interviews done in conjunction with the interception of the targeted communicators can achieve or will achieve the goals of this investigation. So they was trying to get a wiretap, but they was basically saying, an interview was done with WAC 100, which was leaked to YouTube. And this is what we're about to take a listen to today. But I want to again point out that this is in the witness interviews section. So this section about witness interviews contains a witness by the name of WAC 100 who participated in a phone interview with the FBI. Let's take a close listen to this phone interview. And I'm going to show y'all why I say it's without doubt. Check this out.
The AUSA stood up in court a year ago and told them people this man mentioned Christopher Lovejoy and WAC 100 and said that they are working with the federal government. And we going on the record to say we never talked to these dudes.
That was the Los Angeles division, man. The AUSA. How can you say they saying they never talked to you if you saying that the feds called you, what?
No, that's Houston, nigga.
Right. So I'm saying the Los Angeles division said they never talked to you, but the feds talked to you.
I let the red know that Houston called me. Nigga.
Okay, and when you talk to them, you acknowledge having a business dispute with Jay Prince, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, come on, man. Now, I had to start with that clip just to give y'all a small reminder that WAC 100 denied confirming a business dispute with Jay Prince to the FBI. He said that he did not do that. Y'all just heard him. Now, let's get into this call.
Larry Hoover. Come on, Larry Hoover.
Yes, sir. And James Prince Sr.?
I mean, I wouldn't have no information other than just me helping with a Larry Hoover project.
We literally didn't even have to waste any time into this clip. As soon as we get into it, he tells them, I have information about me working on the Larry Hoover project. Inform providing information, right? This too easy, bro. I don't know how dude been getting away with this for so long, but let's keep going. So we know right now, take y'all notes. I need y'all to take notes because at the end of this, we're going to come up with a summary. So we started it off. I have information about me working on the Larry Hoover project. He said that. Let's keep going.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, that's what I'm kind of wanting to talk to you about.
And pardon me for the fast interruption, please. But y'all see what I'm saying? As soon as he says, I have information about me working on the Larry Hoover project, she says, that's what I want to talk to you about. So now he knows that this is a call regarding Larry Hoover and Jay Prince and this situation regarding working on the Larry Hoover project. Right there, he could say, well, I don't want to talk no more without my attorney. But instead, he decides to keep going. So let's keep going.
Okay. Well, what's wrong with me working on the Larry Hoover project?
No, sir. No, nothing's wrong whatsoever with it. I'm glad someone is advocating for him. That wasn't the issue. I was just information has been provided that you've had some disagreements with Mr. Prince. Are you familiar with him?
I mean, I know who he is, but I don't have no issues with Mr. Prince.
Okay. So,
I mean, a disagreement is a disagreement. I don't know how that factors in the FBI.
And right here in this very moment is when they say, we received information that you had a disagreement with Mr. Prince. He doesn't say, no, I didn't have a disagreement with Mr. Prince. They said, are you familiar with him? He said, yes, I know who he is. a disagreement is a disagreement. I don't know how that factors in the FBI. So that's acknowledgement of the disagreement right there. Yeah, we had a disagreement, but a disagreement is a disagreement. How does that factor into the FBI? So he's basically saying, yeah, it happened, but why is the FBI interested in this situation? So he's trying to get them to tell him what information they received exactly. And they're going to get to that too, but let's keep going. So now we have Wack saying that he has information about an incident involving him and Jay Prince over this Larry Hoover documentary. The feds say that's exactly what we want to talk to you about. Have you had a disagreement with Mr. Prince? And he said, well, yeah, a disagreement is a disagreement, but why does the FBI want to know? See how that, keep these notes now. I'm telling y'all, we gonna stack this all up at the end.
Well, I think Mr. Jones, on the YouTube videos going back and forth with him calling you snitch and you calling him one and all of that would be where we received information that there was possibly a disagreement.
Yeah, well, even if we did do that, why would that be an interest of the FBI? Because these ones have any bearing cases pending against one another. We have never done any business with one another. Far as I know, Mr. Prince is a businessman as I am. So, regardless of what we said to each other, as far as a snitch and not being a snitch, like why would that be interest of the FBI? That's what's kind of confusing to me.
He still has yet to deny the disagreement. And this is what y'all got to understand. The FBI has already said to him that they were contacting him about the disagreement regarding, the Larry Hoover documentary or the rights to the Larry Hoover film or whatever was going on in that situation. So this is the exact reason they are contacting you. And it happened. We had a disagreement, whatever. But why y'all want to know, and that's the overlay for the underplay, if you ask me, because we know now that they had wiretaps, and according to Wack, they heard Big U and Jay Prince on the phone talking about harming Wack, according to him. So if that is to be taken as true, then the FBI had already heard what they claim they heard, and they were just looking for a motive. And this is Wack providing them with a motive, not just some internet stuff that they have to take and speculate. They are talking to a witness and getting a direct statement from him regarding the disagreement between him and Jay Prince that they claim to have heard Jay Prince and Big U talking about doing something to him over.
Okay, no, I can explain that. I mean, of course, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. We're just making sure that no threats have been made to you from anyone associated with him over y'all's dispute.
Translation: do you have any direct evidence or information regarding somebody threatening you directly or anybody around you directly? Can you give us any information about that?
No, I haven't. No threats have been made, nor do I feel threatened. Two men get angry, two men say things. We've both been in each other's presence from time to time. I know it's children. No, not at all. I don't feel threatened. Was it something you guys know that I don't know? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just, the daily bullshit propaganda that happens on social media.
This is where Wack finesses a lot of people, because he says, I didn't receive a threat, or I don't feel threatened, as if that exonerates Jay Prince or whoever this other person is, allegedly Big U, of a threat. But what you see on your screen right now is federal case law from 1990 that has long established that the court ruled that the fact that a victim may be courageous, thick-skinned, or entirely unfazed by a threat does not mean a legal threat did not occur. The law measures the statement by objective impact it would have on an ordinary person. So just because you saying, I didn't receive a threat or I don't feel threatened does not mean that there was no threat. All they need you to do is what you are doing, and that's confirm that there was, in fact, a disagreement that occurred, that you two did, in fact, exchange words with each other. And, they were some harsh words. That's all they need you to do. They got whatever audio they feel like they have. And as y'all see, the case law from 30, this is 36 years ago, this was established. They don't need you to feel threatened. They don't need you to say you got a threat. All they need is for you to establish that you were the actual, and that's just for paperwork purposes. So when they go in and say there was a legal dispute or a business dispute between Jay Prince and Whack 100, and they started arguing on the internet, and this guy contacted Jay Prince and said he wanted to break Whack 100's jaw. And when they go in and lay all of that out, they can say it with confidence because they've talked to you and you said, yes, we did have a disagreement, but I didn't feel threatened. And, but we did have a disagreement. I do know who Jay Prince is. I do have some information about me working on the Larry Hoover project. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Let's keep going.
Oh, yes, sir. I understand that. But I think you could kind of understand that sometimes things go past social media, and we were provided information that possibly that something went beyond that. And so we're just calling to clarify and make sure that you haven't been threatened or anyone that you know that have been threatened by him or his associates regarding the disputes that you've had over social media, over YouTube, over Instagram, and all of that.
No, Mr. Prince has an issue any press towards me. I don't feel threatened. I've said to him the same things he said to me, and that's just two men saying things. I don't think it's that serious of a situation. As far as I know, Mr. Prince has continued his business. He's a pillar in his community, as I am. I don't even understand. Like I said, I don't know what you guys have going on or what you guys heard. That's above my reach. But he personally, no, I haven't got any threats, nor do I feel threatened by the man.
Now, once again, the United States federal courts 30 years ago explicitly noted that the definition of a true threat is an objective one. It does not depend on whether the recipient of the communication was actually intimidated or felt subjectively afraid. Instead, it relies on whether a reasonable person would foresee that the statement would be interpreted as a serious expression of intent to harm. The reason why I'm zooming in on that is because one is drilling into y'all that Whack does not exonerate anybody by saying that. But also, I want y'all to see how close Jay Prince was to actually being involved in this racketeering case, because all it would have taken was for Jay Prince to have taken some type of action, whether it was communicating a threat verbally or online, anything that they could have twisted into a threat for them to say he committed an overt act in furtherance of the racketeering conspiracy. And the action would have been an attempt to harm Whack 100 in the interest of the enterprise, whether it was to further the reputation of the enterprise as enforcers or however they twisted it and worded it. But he was really that close to being wrapped up in something like that. Luckily for him, dude couldn't say that and prove it and back it up, so he really couldn't say it. At the same time, the most important thing that I want y'all to notice about this, and I want y'all to get, is, in my opinion, right? Whack isn't saying, oh, well, I don't feel threatened and it's all just internet propaganda. He's not saying that to save Jay Prince. He's saying that to save himself. Because if he acknowledges that this is a situation that he views as serious, then everything that he said can be taken in a serious manner. And that would apply to so many other situations that he has found himself in. So what he's doing is, oh man, it's just internet stuff with me. It's just regular internet bullshit propaganda. Yeah, that may be on your end. But again, they are putting him into the role of the unassuming victim in this situation where, okay, well, he thought it was just an internet issue. Little did he know these guys were over here actually discussing. You see what I'm saying? That's the role that they put him in. That limits the amount of information that they have to get from him. Now they don't need Wack to say, yeah, Jay Prince threatened me. Yeah, they actually called me and said they gonna do this or that. They don't need him to do that because he's the unassuming victim. All they need him to do is confirm that the dispute actually happened and give them some background on what it was about, which is what we about to get to next. Let's keep going.
Okay, so are y'all working together on the Free Larry Hoover project?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's not my ownership of the project. Is not mine. It belongs to somebody else. I'm just assisting that individual.
No,
but I did put the attorneys in contact with their family attorney. So at this point, it's not even a conversation between me and Jay Prince. It's a conversation between the individual who owns the content on my side, attorney, and the Hoover family attorney. So it's, for the last month or so, you haven't heard me or Mr. Prince say really anything to each other because there's no need to.
And just like I told you before I ran that clip, this is Wack telling the FBI exactly what the issue is between he and Jay Prince and how he has come to be involved in it. I have to chop this up like this because I don't want them flagging this saying that it's not a reaction or, it's just a duplicate of the content. But pay close attention to this part because he is going to lay out not just a motive, but he's going to give them details of the interaction and, details of the people involved in the interaction. He's informing. Long story short, I don't know how this went over so many people's heads, but I could get it because if you're not trained in learning the law and listening to people, especially with a law enforcement ear, detectives will let you talk for 3 hours just to get 3 sentences worth of information out of you to put into their summary. And that's kind of what was going on here. They let Wack do a lot of talking. He talk in circles. And they just take the key parts, which is I have information about my involvement with James Prince in this production regarding Larry Hoover. There was a dispute that happened on the internet. However, I don't feel threatened. I didn't issue no threats. No threats were issued towards me. Now we getting into, well, actually, I don't own the rights. Somebody that I know owns the rights. And what I did was just kind of, I'm assisting them. And now they going to get to the good shit, which is, okay, how did you assisting them and him being him turn into you and him getting into it over this situation? How did this come about? Let's see what Wack has to say.
Okay, understandable. Mr. Jones, was there ever, I know there was I don't know, did she record an interview? I don't have her name present, but she's out of LA, and she recorded a video with Mr. Hoover at one time. Are you familiar with that?
Somebody recording a video with Mr. Hoover?
Or an interview. She conducted an interview.
Oh, yeah, we have 5 hours of interview.
And that's another note that y'all need to take. So Wack 100 tells them I have information regarding me working on the Larry Hoover documentary. Yes, me and Jay Prince had a dispute, but to my knowledge, it was just an online dispute, nothing major. Yes, I am partnering with somebody who is in possession of 5 hours of interview footage of Larry Hoover. What's next? So, you see how see the direction this is going in, and you see how they are just very subtly getting these answers out of him. They asking these questions in a it don't even come off like an interrogation. It does if you know how interrogations work, but she's laughing and it's all smooth and he acting confused. And so that body language is giving off that he's not giving any information. But when you listen to what's actually being said, he's giving up very exclusive details that you would have to be involved in the situation to know. So now the FBI knows, okay, we heard these two guys talking about breaking Wax's jaw, for example. We heard these two guys talking about breaking Wax's jaw. Why would they do that? Well, apparently there's a dispute going on between Jay Prince and Wack 100 in which somebody that Wack is partners with has up to 5 hours of an exclusive interview with Mr. Larry Hoover. Now, why would that cause these two guys to have a dispute?
Yes, sir. And at any point, okay, and it was a female, correct? I don't have her name with me at this exact moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's an elderly woman that owns it.
Yes, sir. And let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of any information that Mr. Prince or his associate has tried to request that information, the video from her?
Oh, no. Well, I'm the one that alerted him that the footage was real and tried to merge a deal with them because they own the life rights. This is the rights of a regular documentary that I was recording while he was in prison. So I just try to bring the two parties together to see if they can make it one big situation.
Yes, sir. And so who owns the rights to that interview?
The lady who has the footage, she has the contract. I have the contract. I forward the contract to the family attorneys. She's been on it since 1998.
Yes, sir. And did Mr. Prince attempt to get the rights to that interview?
No, he attempted to negotiate a deal if possible. The negotiations are still going on. But I think that's just business. Nothing wrong with him negotiating.
Once again, this dude is talking in circles and they letting him, but they still just extracting the parts that they want to, and this is how he gets it past the viewers, because listen to what he's doing here. They ask him, have you heard of Mr. Prince trying to get the footage? And then he says, no, but well, I'm the one that alerted him to the footage, meaning I reached out to Jay Prince and told him that we had this footage and tried to see if I could negotiate some way where these two, could get in and do some business. And he tried to negotiate just getting complete ownership and control of the footage. That's what I got out of this. And I'm pretty sure the agents got the same thing out of this when they listened to it. Like, okay, so what we do know is Wack told them he had information about his involvement in working on his Larry Hoover project. He said that he and Jay Prince had a disagreement. He acknowledged that there's an elderly lady who owns the rights to this footage and has been the owner of the rights to this since 1998. And that once he got involved, he attempted to alert Jay Prince so that they could somehow agree to merge these projects together, since Jay Prince, according to Wack 100, owns Mr. Hoover's life rights. Jay Prince, in turn, tried to negotiate some different terms, and Wack alerted the attorneys. That's what I got out of everything that we just heard. And that's what they got too. And they saying that this situation right here and Wack alerting attorneys and getting involved all in the middle of this is the reason why they was on the phone talking about breaking his jaw. And so now they reaching out to him to make sure he hasn't actually been threatened. See how all of that comes together? But we not done though. Let's keep going.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not implying that whatsoever. Just some information that we received was that the documentary, the businesswoman didn't want to really give up the documentary and possibly could have been pressured to do so.
No, I don't know anything about her being pressured. She had a conversation on my phone. It was just a simple business conversation. When you're doing business, there's always offer. Either you're going to accept the offer or you're going to continue to negotiate. So as of right now, we're still negotiating. She's negotiating is just to two attorneys are talking and they're figuring it out.
Now, right here, the feds are saying the information that we have received is that she didn't want to give the footage up and that she was being pressured. So once again, they told you at the beginning of this call that they was interested in knowing about the dispute between you and Jay Prince over this Larry Hoover situation. Right there, you really supposed to lawyer up. If we keeping it 100, you a member, whatever you want to say, you was supposed to lawyer up right there. Oh man, I don't want to talk without a lawyer because this could possibly be an investigation on you. But you know it's not an investigation on you, in my opinion. So you going into this like, yeah, I have some information. Like you said in the beginning, well, the only information I have is about me working on that. And from that, we have learned that you told them that you had a dispute with Jay Prince. You told them that Jay Prince was on your phone. This is what you just said in this last clip, that she was, talking to them on your phone. He literally said she had a conversation on my phone, but it didn't go. The negotiations didn't fall through. And he's labeling it as a business negotiation because the things that he said could be considered hostile too. So he don't want to say, yeah, we had a little argument, because then the words that he said could be taken literally as well. So he's classic. He's not stupid when it comes to this type of shit. He's not dumb by a long shot. He know how to word it to make sure, he not getting in trouble, which is why he keeps saying, oh, well, yeah, it's just a business. It's negotiations. And that way, anything that's said in the heat of the moment can be labeled as negotiation. He can do that because he knows there's no wiretap of him talking about breaking anybody's jaws or anything like that. On the flip side of this, he is already aware that Big Dale is cooperating, according to me, in my opinion, but that's another thing. But in this small clip, like I was saying, we learned that Wack told the feds he had information regarding his involvement in this Larry Hoover negotiation. We learned that Wack told the feds that he had a dispute with Jay Prince online. We learned that Wack told the feds that there was an elderly lady who actually owned this footage, and that she had owned this footage since 1998. She had attempted to negotiate with Mr. Prince on Wack's phone, but those negotiations fell through. They want to continue negotiation, but they want to just let the lawyers deal with it now instead of personally talking to each other. Let's keep going and see what else Wack told the feds.
Mr. Prince has been a close friend to the Hoover family. He's done a lot of business, overseen a lot of business, so the man is well in his right to attempt to negotiate. But that's all it was negotiations. No more, no less.
Mr. Prince and Mr. Hoover have done a lot of business together, and he's well within his rights. That's a very slick way of saying that Jay Prince and Larry Hoover are very close to each other, and anything that has anything to do with Larry Hoover, Jay Prince is coming and he's trying to get his hands on it or control it, and that's his right to do so. Regardless of if you think that's his right to do so or not, they have their own legal, interpretation of how these things are supposed to go. And when they don't go that way, they label it extortion or something like that. So just because you say he's within his rights doesn't mean anything. That's just like saying you don't feel threatened. But Wack throws these types of things in there because, he can say, well, I said that's his right to do that. You know what I mean? And then people think, Wack wasn't telling. He was, no, bro, you just told them that he and Larry Hoover have an extensive history and they do a lot of business together. Larry Hoover is in the feds. He was in the feds. I'm pretty sure he has some type of restitution. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of different angles to that. And this is the same thing that the internet tried to destroy King Yella for. You hear Dirk all over songs and shit saying shit about BD and David and all of that shit, But Yella go in the interrogation room and say, well, shit, I'm GD, they BD, but we ain't beefing. And everybody like, oh, that nigga the feds, he told the feds they was BDs, So I treat this the same way, regardless of what people may feel like they know what's on the internet or any of that shit, you are telling the feds that Jay Prince and Larry Hoover are tied. I know this firsthand. I have a business issue going on with Jay Prince, and it's a result of something that we own that's regarding Larry Hoover, and Jay Prince and Larry Hoover are in cahoots with this. So if this lady would have been being pressured, it would have fell back on Larry Hoover as well. You see what I'm saying? Like this is the type of games that this dude play. And this is why he was so quick to try to co-sign that 1090 Jake shit, you know. But let's keep going because he ain't done telling.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking to me. If you want to keep my number and anything comes up, or you hear of anything dealing with any type of threat or anything like that, I would appreciate if you could give me a call. As long as things are.
I don't know why the threat thing keeps coming up. Like, why is that? Where is that coming from?
Well, I mean, I think, when it's on social media, YouTube, and, court records come out, things are said, comments are made, information is received to the FBI, and so we just have to follow up. And so I just thought I would talk to you directly instead of,
Yeah. Some of these things are all in fun and games. A lot of times we play the media because we got events coming up, we got artists and things coming up, you know what I mean? So, kind of like that social media is not all real. A lot of it is fiction. A lot of it is, it's pre-thought out to put some attention on something we want you to look at. But me and Mr. Prince, we're good. The lady who has the footage, she's good. The attorneys are talking. I can forward you my counsel's number. His name is Alex Kessel. If you want to get a hold of it, you can call him, and then we can take it from there. But other than that, yeah, there's no problems on this side. I would hope to believe there's no problems on Mr. Prince's side.
You heard what he said, though. There's no problems on this side. All of that explaining about, it's just the internet and we do it to promote stuff. And he's speaking from his own perspective and point of view. And like I told y'all, he has to do that because if he acknowledges the situation as a real dispute, then all of that nonsense he's yelling opens him up to, some federal investigation and possibly charges. So, of course, he's going to say, it's all just acting propaganda, and then that way they can document it and say, this dude didn't have no ill intent. He was just playing on the internet. But these dudes, they was over here congregating and having meetings and talking on wiretaps. That's the image that they want to paint. And, he established a motive right here. And this is according to WAC, this is a real call with the FBI. So the argument that he's trying to pose that he is not an informant is contradicted by this very audio, because you are informing the police right here. You started the call off saying the only information that I would have would be regarding me working with, this Larry Hoover documentary. And then you proceeded to tell them the information that you had about your dispute with Jay Prince and y'all dealings and negotiations with this Larry Hoover documentary. Me and this lady that's a business partner of mine, we have 5 hours of interview footage with Larry Hoover. I was attempting to negotiate some kind of way where Mr. Prince could get his hands on it and incorporate it with what he has because he owns Mr. Hoover's life rights. But we were unable to agree. We did end up on the internet having a dispute, saying some words back and forth. But on my side, it was all good. I ain't got no problem. It was just internet propaganda and promotion. To me, I hope it's the same on their side, but on my side, it's all good. I did talk to my partner and we agreed that we just gonna let the attorneys deal with it because Mr. Prince, he do a lot of business with Mr. Hoover, and he basically he got the rights to everything that's Mr. Hoover, so he within his rights to try to come after this. And I just want to get my attorney involved to make sure that it's done right. Okay, Mr. Jones, well, give us a call if anything else should happen to come up. And they get off the phone with him and they go type it up, and it looks exactly like this?
Larry Hoover. What about Larry Hoover?
Yes, sir. And James Prince Sr.?
I mean, I wouldn't have no information other than just leave helping with a Larry Hoover project.
Okay, yes, sir. Well, that's what I'm kind of wanting to talk to you about. Information has been provided that you've had some disagreements with Mr. Prince. Are you familiar with him?
I mean, I know who he is, but I don't have no issues with Mr. Prince.
Okay, so,
I mean, a disagreement is a disagreement. I don't know how that factors in the FBI.
we're just making sure that no threats have been made to you from anyone associated with him over y'all's dispute.
No, I haven't. No threats have been made, nor do I feel threatened. Two men get angry, two men say things. Was it something you guys know that I don't know? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just, the daily bullshit propaganda that happens on social media.
Sometimes things go past social media, and we were provided information that possibly that something went beyond that. And so we're just calling to clarify and make sure that you haven't been threatened or anyone that you know that have been threatened by him or his associates regarding the disputes that you've had over social media, over YouTube, over Instagram, and all of that.
I've said to him the same things he said to me, and that's just two men saying things. I don't think it's that serious of a situation. I don't even understand. Like I said, I don't know what you guys have going on or what you guys heard. That's above my reach. But he personally, no, I haven't got any threats, nor do I feel threatened by the man.
Okay, so are y'all working together on the Free Larry Hoover project?
No, I'm not. It's not my ownership of the project. Is not mine. It belongs to somebody else. I'm just assisting that individual.
Mr. Jones, was there ever? I know there was I don't know. Did she record an interview? I don't have her name present, but she's out of LA, and she recorded a video with Mr. Hoover at one time. Are you familiar with that?
Somebody recording a video with Mr. Hoover?
Or an interview. She conducted an interview.
Oh, yeah, we have 5 hours of interview.
Was a female, correct? I don't have her name with me at this exact moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's an elderly woman that owns it.
Yes, sir. And let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of any information that Mr. Prince or his associates has tried to request that information, the video from her?
I'm the one that alerted him that the footage was real and tried to merge a deal with them because they own the life rights. This is the rights of a regular documentary that I was recording while he was in prison. So I just try to bring the two parties together to see if they can make it one big situation.
Yes, sir. And so who owns the rights to that interview?
The lady who has the footage, she has the contract. I have the contract. I forward the contract to the family attorneys. She's been on it since 1998.
Yes, sir. And did Mr. Prince attempt to get the rights to that interview?
He attempted to negotiate a deal if possible. The negotiations are still going on.
The information that we received was that the documentary, the businesswoman didn't want to really give up the documentary and possibly could have been pressured to do so.
She had a conversation on my phone. It was just a simple business conversation. Mr. Prince has been a close friend to the Hoover family. He's done a lot of business, overseen a lot of business, so the man is well in his right to attempt to negotiate.
Now, I want to direct your attention back to this. We cannot let this slide. This section says witness, interviews, and arrests. And in this section, what it does is it details what they consider to be witness interviews and how those interviews have been helpful or hurtful to the investigation. They then go into detail, and I want y'all to pay very close attention to this part because they are trying to explain why they no longer want to conduct witness interviews. And he kind of used this to his favor to try to make it seem like, well, I helped those guys, but pay close attention to this part. It says, for example, in late July 2022, the FBI Houston Division conducted a telephone interview of Cash Jones, aka Whack 100, about his interaction with the subject of their investigation. Their, not our, not this, not the current. So that investigation where they were questioning Whack, that was a completely different investigation than the one that this application and this document is speaking on. With that being said, in my opinion, and from what I see on this, they are basically saying that we want to interview Cash Jones as well. However, based on what happened with that interview, we don't feel that it's a good idea for us to interview him. Now, I want y'all to pay close attention to this part as well, because I know people are going to ask, okay, well, how is he an informant if they don't want to interview him? Well, first of all, based on the information that he provided in this phone call, that establishes his position as an informant. As I went down the list, he confirmed he had a dispute with Jay Prince. He confirmed that the dispute was over some rights or, the rights to some footage involving Larry Hoover and a documentary or production involving Larry Hoover. Several other things that he confirmed. He confirmed that it happened on Instagram. All of this stuff, we went over that already. But I'm saying that to say they want to interview him regarding this investigation, but they don't feel that it's a very good idea. And this is why we see what we see today with the Future and Big U situation. Because what they are doing is they are using Wack's words as an unindicted co-conspirator, and that gives them the standard is very low for that when you taking that in front of a grand jury. Let me show y'all something. When you look at United States Supreme Court precedent, case law, you can go back as far as 1974, 50 years ago, United States versus Nixon. In this historic case, the Supreme Court explicitly stated that an out-of-court statement of a co-conspirator is admissible, even if that person is an unindicted co-conspirator. The court affirmed that as long as there is a prima facie showing of conspiracy based on independent evidence, that statement can be used against the defendant. What better showing than the unindicted co-conspirator actually detailing how this conspiracy came about and the approach that y'all took to take actions in furtherance of the conspiracy. He went through his whole little thing about who Future owed and how the phone calls came through and how they approached him and what happened in the club. You see what I'm saying? So he laid this whole little conspiracy out, right? And that's not the only case. You have this case from 1987. The Supreme Court clarified the evidentiary requirements. And this is very, very important because I want y'all to see how low the threshold is for this. The evidentiary requirements under Federal Rule of Evidence 801 D2E. The court ruled that to admit these statements, the government only needs to prove only that a conspiracy existed by a preponderance of the evidence. So that's how low the threshold is. It's not reasonable doubt. It's just a preponderance of the evidence, meaning they only need to bring in enough evidence to show that it's more likely than not that this occurred. With that said, bringing in a statement from an unindicted co-conspirator who has actually argued with people and went and found documented articles online to show people that this situation was documented way before he ever spoke on it in some Reddit article or some shit. and, made these phone calls and went to these extremes to prove himself. That gives them enough evidence to say, well, it's more likely than not. You see, even here it says that's a low threshold, and it does not require that both parties face criminal charges together. So he's gone from a witness that they want to interview to a unindicted co-conspirator whose statements they are just using. But the reason why he's staying unindicted is because he is still available for witness interviews. If they need to call him, as y'all seen, if they call him, he gonna pick up the phone and talk to him and answer questions, and he gonna make it sound real good. But if you listen very closely, he's giving them information. If you listen closely, he's giving them information. That's how he's staying unindicted. It's not that, it is kind of hard to put together because this is a lot of stuff to be paying attention to. But when you look at it, again, look at the words that they are using in this affidavit or in this document, when they are talking about witness interviews. They said the FBI Houston division interviewed Cash Jones in their case. Now, if Cash Jones wasn't relevant to this case, why would his name even be coming up? Listen, if WAC 100 is not relevant to Big U's case, why would the agents be putting in Big U's documents that the FBI Houston division wanted to interview Cash Jones about a completely different investigation, and that he, leaked the interview? Why would they say that unless he's relevant to this investigation? You see what I'm saying? He keep getting on here saying, I don't have nothing to do with Big. You have everything to do with this case. They saying it right here. You are one of the witnesses that they want to interview, but they fear that you will leak the information. So rather than interview you, they just gonna keep using you as a source of open source information, open source intelligence, open source reporting. We seeing it firsthand. Rather than call you and interview you and give you the opportunity to go run your mouth about it, we just gonna listen to everything that you say and build cases around it and make evidence off of it. And when we call your phone, you're going to pick up and you're going to answer and you're going to talk to us and you're going to tell us what you know. You're going to make sure it was innocent on my end. I ain't got but we did have a dispute, but I hope it ain't go that far with them. What y'all know? Y'all know something that I don't know? Like, bro, you ain't tricking nobody with that. And again, this section is called witness interviews and arrests. They don't talk about arresting Cash Jones. They don't talk about arresting WAC 100. So what other part of this could he fall into? Witness interviews. Why is a witness interview with Cash Jones relevant in this case if he has nothing to do with this case? Why are they using Cash Jones as an example of a witness that may leak information if they don't plan to interview him in this case? A judge could easily say, well, do you plan to interview Cash Jones? And if they say no, then, okay, what the hell does him leaking interviews in a Houston case got to do with this case? See how easy that is to put together? So obviously, y'all mentioning him leaking interviews in the Houston case because y'all don't want him to leak interviews in this case. Why are you on the list to get interviewed in the first place if you're not relevant to the case? If you don't have anything to do with this case, why are you on the witness list to get interviewed? This is the proof right here to y'all that he is on the witness list to get interviewed. This is the proof right here. Again, what judge would use this as evidence? Okay, well, since Cash Jones cooperated in a Houston, since Cash Jones leaked the interview in a Houston case, I'm going to give y'all a search warrant to get a wiretap in this LA case. What sense does that make? How is that relevant? If that's the case, if that's what happened, Big U got an automatic appeal. If this is what happened, then this means Big U is about to win his motion to suppress these wiretaps. if that is the scenario, if they were able to use the fact that Cash Jones, Whack 100, is a witness in another case who leaked an interview in another case as justification to not do interviews in this case and actually just go get wiretaps, and that was able to fly, oh man, he about to get this shit thrown out. I'm gonna just leave it up to y'all though. Y'all seen, y'all heard. Let me know what y'all think, man. I had to drop this one on the Patreon. This is a long one, so I hope you got some time to ride and listen. But let me know what y'all think. Leave me a comment. Y'all know what it is, man. Hit that hype button. Hit that like button. Like, comment, subscribe. All that Patreon stuff. All that Patreon stuff, man. Straight up. Y'all know what it is, man. This your boy Byron Blake. I'm out.